following Jim's property, Yville, for many years. I think one of the interesting things is, his site launched over 10 years ago, his virtual world. And, so it has some amazing science built into it and some really great learning threads, I think, with the research to back it up. Anyway, let me continue to move on to Tom Dusenberry. And if I can switch the monitor here. And we have just a couple minutes here if you can, Tom.
Sure. Thank you. I'm Tom Dusenberry, and I'm the founder and owner of Dusenberry Entertainment. I've been an entrepreneur for the last 8 years. During that time, I've built and sold 4 mobile game companies. And I've been very focused, my business has been very focused in interactive experiences. But within the focus of interactive experiences, I'm pretty darn diversified as it relates to how we interpret that. So the business that I run basically has 3 primary buckets to it. There's a strategic and a consulting bucket. So I'm on the board of directors of Livewire Mobile, which is a publicly held company that does switching of music for Sprint. I also do all kinds of venture capital work as it relates to evaluating interactive opportunities and helping them make good decisions as it relates to where to invest money. The second part of Dusenberry Entertainment is really focused in licensing. So I do both in-licensing and out-licensing. I've got a very robust business where I support different technologies and platforms in the marketplace where I deliver brands to them. But I'm also an inventor, and I invent my own content and my own concepts, and I sell them as well. So that's an important part of what Dusenberry Entertainment's all about. And then the third part of my business is it's an operational business, and that is I run 2 businesses in addition to Dusenberry Entertainment. So I'm the president of Robonica, which I'm going to talk about today, and I'm also the CEO of Pico Active, which is an interactive fitness business where we're focused on interactive entertainment and fitness experiences that relate to heartbeat and brainwave analysis. So some of these things are kind of way out there, but those are the things that I work on from an entrepreneurial perspective. If we go to the next slide, I've been associated with some of the greatest brands that the interactive business has ever seen. This lineup right here, it's a poor slide, unfortunately, but it represents over $3 billion worth of business that I've been able to deliver into the marketplace. The next slide shows my big hits. These 6 properties represent over $1 billion worth of business in the marketplace. They represent original content, they represent licenses, and they represent brands that Hasbro had, which was a big part of my life. So, as I said, I've got 30 years of experience. I'm the former CEO of Hasbro Interactive. I bought Atari back in 1997 and made that part of my business. I was the founder of Games.com and built that business out in 1998 and 1999. And we're moving on from a point of view of what we're trying to accomplish today is that if you think about the market trends, robots are really cool. And if you think about it, interactive games are really cool. And if you think about it, social networking is really where it's all at. And that's what Robonica does, is we deliver robotic experiences with interactive capability. And we've delivered something new to the marketplace, and that is that we're creating a new game platform using robots. So the robot that we have, clearly these slides aren't working properly, but the robot that we have is a very, very robust robot. It's got 4 different microprocessors, it's got 16 sensors in it, and it can do just about everything. If you want to come down and see the product, we're actually demonstrating it at CES in the North Hall at booth number 3126. It's a pretty exciting experience, and I recommend that you come down and see it. In addition to a very robust robot, what's really special about our product is the fact that you can customize and modify the robot to any of the habits or characteristics that you would like to incorporate into the robot. And in addition to that, what we've done is we found that what is really killer from a robot point of view, it's all about competition. So we have set up competitive experiences. We can have single-player games, multiplayer games, and then double-player games, and then you can go and compete against other kids playing in the robots. And then what we think is what is the totally killer application is the fact that you take the robot, you plug it into your computer, and then you and your robot go through a virtual world journey together. You use the interactive device that you control the robot with for your virtual world experience, and the habits and the characteristics that you put into your robot in a virtual world will actually come out and be shown on the physical side as well. So we're really excited about this product from a point of view that we really think it really brings together the best of physical and virtual world products together in a very seamless type of an experience. And we introduced this product in November of last year. We were able to get about 1,500 pieces out into the marketplace from an early adopter perspective. Warren can talk a little about it. He spent some time with it. And the experience from a consumer point of view is it's a wow. There's a lot to it, and it's really exciting. So we're really thrilled to be able to be presenting this to you today.
Tom, can you just stop that slide for a second and see, look how he's taken the background of that virtual world and extended it beyond the screen. And I think that's what we're talking about here, about virtual worlds. And that's what's different about this time is that, and that slide's great because it's like, it just extends the monitor. But to a child, they can go into that space.
Yeah.
And we can do that more and more.
I sometimes think, just to follow up on that sentiment, Warren, that a lot of virtual worlds is the child looking at cursor or avatar as cursor in their small defined space. We're looking towards the future. We're not looking at a cursor as being in the world. There's all kinds of other opportunities and other technologies where we may play a much greater role than we do today in world. But with that, if I could ask just a couple of questions of my panelists, and if I could also ask you, just because we're running a little over, to keep your replies short so we can get as many people to address a question as possible. Tell me, what are your thoughts about the changing nature of kids in online spaces, and what does that mean to play? People are talking about, well, we certainly all understand how children play in the real world, but how is play changing with the introduction and growth of virtual worlds in online spaces? If I could start with Ellen.
And Scott, do you mind if people stand up and get a hot dog while they're talking? I mean, I think you should.
If you get, yeah, go right ahead if you'd like.
Never get between an idea and a hot dog. But that will let us continue a little bit.
And you can wear the GZD and you can move around a lot after lunch.
That's right.
I have a very kind of a piggyback question on that. I'd like to hear from Finnegan and talk about, which is really what you're talking about here, the combination of bricks and mortar stores and the virtual world and how that interfaces. It's somewhat like this, and the actual physical.
So if I could repeat the question, you're saying how does the virtual worlds playing a part of the change between brick and mortar, and how that changes play?
For us, we have some interesting data that we've done here recently about the gameplay. What we've seen is that about 1 out of every 3 of our guests who come in to purchase at Build-A-Bear tell us that they go online before their purchase. So they start to experience our brand and experience the gameplay before they even come to a brick and mortar store. After they come and experience the brand and Build-A-Bear, and many of you have been through that experience before, about 1 in every 2 kids in our demographic, the 10 and 11-year-old girls, take that animal online with them and bring it to life online. So we're seeing this dynamic blending between the online space and our real store.
Can I say the reason that works for Build-A-Bear is because the kids are building it themselves.
Right.
That's why it works. Barbie.com is not doing as well, okay? And that's why. So the kids don't change. Evolutionary time is what changes species, right? That's a long time. So kids learning hasn't changed. What this technology allows is for kids to learn and engage the way that we really do, not the way we've been forced to do, by media largely and by the toy industry largely. So what I would say is the big trend, which you see in what Build-A-Bear is doing and others, everyone knows customization is a big deal. If I were making devices, and I actually am, associated with Yville, you want to make devices that enable kids to engage with them. Not something the concept which I introduced 10 years ago, and it now is picked up and carried all the places, that turns out is that we're not in a push world anymore, we're in a pull world. Pushing is over. You make things that pull kids in. You don't push things at them.
So if I could just say that, instead of scripting the play, you're looking for opportunities to create open play, whether it's offline or on.
So way to think about that, again, in a larger sense, and Alan sort of said this earlier. By the way, the first virtual world I made was with Alan in 1986 in HyperCard. But anyway, so this is a little bit historically recursive for me today. That's exactly right. That storyboarding is out too.